The sound of the slap lingers in the air long after the hand has fallen. It is not loud yet. It fills every corner of the room. Conversation collapses into silence. Cutlery pauses mid-air. Music continues to play softly, unaware of the moment it is. Soundtracking waitress stands perfectly still, her face turned slightly from the impact, a red mark rising slowly on her cheek. She does not cry, she does not speak, she does not move. The fiancé stands rigid, her hands still raised as if frozen. In disbelief at her own action, her breath comes fast, her eyes dart around the room, daring anyone to challenge her. No one. Does the billionaire remain seated, his expression unreadable? He does not rise, he does not speak, he does not stop. What has already happened? The room waits. Everyone expects someone to intervene. Management, security, anyone but power presses down heavy and invisible. No one wants to be the first to break it. The waitress finally lowers her head, slowly, not in shame, but in control. She takes one small step back, then another, each movement measured, deliberate. Her manager rushes forward, whispering apologies to the table, not to her. He gestures for her to leave the area immediately. She nods, once still silent as she turns away. She catches a reflection in the mirrored wall, her own eyes, looking back at her, steady, focused, awake. This is not fear. This is resolve. She walks toward the service corridor, each step echoing louder in her ears than the slap itself behind her. Whispers begin to stir, low, cautious shock. The fiancé sits back down, her confidence wavering just slightly. She smooths her hair, adjusts her posture. She expects the moment to pass. Moments like this always do. The billionaire lifts his glass, but does not drink. He watches the corridor where the waitress disappeared. Something unsettles him. Not guilt, not yet, something closer to curiosity. In the corridor, the waitress pauses. She presses her palm against the cool wall. She breathes in slowly. She breathes out. She remembers another moment years earlier. Another room, another raised voice, another injustice swallowed because it was easier. But tonight is different. She straightens her uniform. She checks her reflection again. She is calm. She is ready. She steps back into the dining room. The shift is immediate. Eyes widen. Whispers, stop. People stare. She walks, not toward the kitchen, but toward the main floor. Toward the center, toward the table. Her manager panics, moving quickly to intercept her. He whispers urgently, telling her to stop, to go back. She gently steps around him. The fiancé notices first, her lips curl in irritation. What now? She snaps. The waitress stops at a respectful distance. She bows slightly, not in submission, but professionalism. She speaks calmly, evenly. Her voice carries clearly through the quiet room. She says there is something the table should know, something that affects everyone present. Billionaire looks up sharply now. Fully engaged, the room leans inward collectively. Fiancé laughs sharply, dismissively enough, she says. Get her away, but the waitress does not stop. She addresses the billionaire directly. Her eyes meet his. Without fear, she mentions a name. One the fiancé recognizes immediately. The fiancé stiffens. Her smile fades. The waitress continues. She speaks of dates, of places, of conversations overheard while doing her job quietly, invisibly. The room holds its breath. Billionaire sets his glass down slowly, his attention locked on the waitress. Now they. Fiancé interrupts loudly, accusing her of lying, of revenge, of humiliation. But the waitress does not raise her voice. She does not argue. She simply continues. She explains how she recognized the fiancé earlier, not as a guest, but as someone else. Entirely someone connected to a situation the billionaire should know about, someone who should not be sitting at this table. Murmur ripples through the room. The billionaire feels a tightening in his chest. This is no longer about a slap. This is something else. The waitress reaches into her apron, not dramatically. Calmly she removes a small object, something she had kept without knowing why until now. She places it gently on the table. The object catches the light. The fiancé goes pale. The room freezes completely. The room remains locked in stillness as every eye fixes on the small object resting on the table. The lights above seem brighter now, reflecting off its surface, drawing attention to its presence. The waitress keeps her hands at her sides, her posture calm, her breathing steady. The billionaire looks down slowly, recognizing the object before his mind is ready to accept it. His face tightens not with anger, but with realization. He looks up at the fiancée, whose confidence has vanished, replaced by fear. She shakes her head immediately, denying everything before a word is spoken. Her voice rises, insisting it means nothing, that it is a coincidence, that the waitress is lying. But the room feels different now. No one believes her, and the waitress speaks again. Softly she explains where she saw the object before. In a different place, a private meeting, a conversation meant to stay hidden, a promise made behind closed doors. She explains that she did not know who the woman was at the time, only that something about the exchange felt wrong. She explains how she remembered the face, not because it was important then, but because fear has a way of imprinting details. The billionaire listens without interrupting. Each word lands heavier than the last. The story aligns with doubts he buried months ago, discrepancies, delays, questions he chose not to ask. The fiancée steps back, knocking her chair over, her voice sharp, desperate now. She accuses the waitress of jealousy, of revenge, of trying to destroy her life, but her words collapse under their own weight. Guests exchange looks. Some stand slowly, sensing something irreversible unfolding. Others remain frozen, unable to look away. The billionaire stands. The sound of his chair moving breaks the silence like thunder. He looks at the waitress and nods once, not as a superior, not as an employer, but as someone acknowledging truth. He turns to the fiancée. He asks her a single question. She cannot answer. Her strength leaves her posture, collapsing inward. Tears form not from remorse, but from exposure. She realizes the performance is over. Security steps forward quietly. Not aggressive, just firm. They ask her to leave. She protests, she begs, she reaches for the billionaire. He steps back. The restaurant breathes again as she is escorted away, her voice fading down the corridor. The door closes. Silence returns, different now, lighter. The billionaire turns to the waitress. He apologizes, not with excuses, not with justification, but with honesty. He acknowledges his failure to act, his silence, his comfort in power. The waitress listens. She accepts the apology with a small nod, nothing more. The manager approaches, trembling, offering apologies, compensation, reassurance. The waitress thanks him politely. She does not ask for anything. Guests begin to talk again softly. The spell breaks, but the memory stays. Later, the billionaire asks the waitress to sit just for a moment. They speak quietly about courage, about dignity, about how easily power forgets humanity. He asks how she stayed calm. She says she learned long ago that truth does not need to shout. The night ends without applause, without spectacle, but with something rarer, respect. The waitress returns to work the next day. Same uniform, same role, but she walks differently. The billionaire changes too. He listens more, he intervenes sooner. He remembers the sound of a room frozen by injustice. The restaurant continues serving meals, but that table holds a lesson invisible, yet permanent. That silence is not weakness, that dignity cannot be taken, and that sometimes the person struck down is the only one standing when the truth finally arrives.